Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. Bad idea? Renting a Lamborghini to go out one last time with the boys before your baby's born. Good idea? You're charged with operating while visually impaired. Get a lawyer. Live and learn. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the Christopher Simpson case. And this is case number 24 TRC 07266. You're Mr. Simpson, sir?
Yes, sir.
The record should reflect the defendant is present in the courtroom today. Without counsel, we have Ms. Yeager here on behalf of the state of Ohio. This matter comes on for further hearing, having been scheduled for a trial to the court. Ms. Yeager, is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Simpson, are you ready to go to trial as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have a right to be represented by counsel, and if you could not afford an attorney and you qualified based upon your income and expenses, household size, et cetera, you're eligible to ask the court to provide an attorney for you at no cost, which we would be happy to do if you qualified. Now, the benefit of having an attorney is somebody who's trained in the law, who can advise you of any defenses that might be available to you, any motions that can be made on your behalf, such as a motion to suppress or dismiss that would improve your circumstances, and in general, basically look out for your best interest and try to get you the best possible outcome. Was your intention to waive your right to an attorney today, or would you like the court to continue the trial so that you can either apply for court-appointed counsel or retain counsel of your choosing?
To proceed.
Okay, very well. It is required it's obviously you can't be forced to waive your right to an attorney. However, if that is in fact your decision, it is required that it be done in writing. So I'm going to provide you a form entitled attorney waiver, and I'm going to ask you to make sure that you actually read it before you sign it. But if it is your decision to waive your right to counsel, just go ahead and sign by the X. Thank you, Deputy. There you go. You may. All right. Thank you. So, Mr. Simpson, did you review that form?
Yes.
Did you read it and understand what it said?
Yes.
Is that your signature on the form?
Yes.
And was it your intention to waive your right to counsel?
Yes.
All right. Bailiff Kyle, could you cause that to be file stamped for me, please? And once that happens, we'll go ahead and get started. While we're waiting for the bailiff to come back, was there anything that the state wished to bring to the court's attention before we got underway?
Not on this matter, Your Honor, but we did want to inquire if you wanted to go on to go to the next case and come back. I believe the next person is incarcerated and is in a holding cell, so I didn't want them to have to wait on us.
Do we know what, that's a change of plea form.
Sorry.
Do we know what Mr. J wants to do, or Justice wants to do? Okay. You still need to get him signed up?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll go ahead and proceed with the trial then at this point. Mr. Simpson, was there anything that you wanted to bring to the court's attention before we got underway here today?
I don't think so.
All right, very well. Please call your first witness, Ms. Yeager.
Thank you. State will call Sergeant Josh Cart.
Sir, do you solemnly swear or do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please have a seat. For the record, give your name and spell your last name
Sergeant Joshua Cart, C-A-R-T-E,
and the address of your post.
3855 Alva Road, Granville, Ohio, currently at the 5th District ODOT building.
Thank you. You may inquire.
Thank you. Sergeant Cart, how long have you been in the Ohio State Highway Patrol?
9 years and 1 day.
Okay. And what are your general duties as a sergeant?
To enforce the Ohio Revised Code, traffic crash investigation, criminal investigation, OVI investigations.
Okay. And what kind of training have you had on traffic law enforcement?
I went to the academy for a 6-month training from September 30th, 2015 to March 4th, 2016. We went over those things that I do on my day-to-day, the Ohio Revised Code, field sobriety testing for OVI detection, and crash investigation.
Okay. So did you have practical and classroom training both?
Yes, as a part of my 6-month training, I did.
Okay. And have you had training in the detection of someone operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs of abuse?
Yes.
What kind of training have you had for that?
We went through the standard field sobriety testing, the NHTSA manual. I got to do practical application on individuals that had not consumed any alcohol, consumed some alcohol, and consumed too much alcohol.
And did that include conducting field sobriety tests on those people as well as chemical tests?
Yes.
Okay. And what version of the NHTSA manual were you originally trained under?
The June of 15, I believe.
And have you since received the updates from 2018 and 2023?
Yes.
Is the NHTSA manual the manual that's used by all law enforcement throughout the United States?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any other OVI type training?
After successfully completing the training portion after graduating the academy, we also go through the A-RIDE portion, which is advanced roadside drug detection for impairment.
And are you current with any continuing education and training requirements?
Yes, we get annual training, annual updates to the manual, to any laws, any case law and stuff like that every year.
Okay. And so during your time with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, have you had contact with people driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs of abuse?
Yes.
And about how many would you say in a week or a month would you estimate?
Course of my career, or just as
Yeah.
monthly, I'd say over my career, monthly, I probably right around 9 to 10 a month that I've made arrests for OVIs.
And then you have several people that you come in contact with, I'm sure, that are not under the influence, correct?
Correct.
And so were you working on August 24th of this year?
I was.
Okay. And what shift or hours were you working?
I was working the night shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And that's a Saturday, correct?
That was.
Okay. And I'm going to direct your attention to a little after midnight at about 12:22 a.m. On that Saturday. Where were you patrolling?
I was patrolling Licking County, the city of Newark, specifically the 21st Street area.
Okay. And is that city of Newark, Licking County, Ohio?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you wearing a uniform of the day like you are in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you operating a marked cruiser with a working visible light bar?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you and your cruiser equipped with recording equipment?
Yes.
Okay. How are those activated?
They can be manually or automatically. This day, it was an automatic activation. Whenever I activate my lights, my dash camera will activate, and then upon my lights being active and me exiting my patrol car, my body camera activates, and then if I put someone in the back of my car, my rear camera activates.
Okay. And were all of these cameras working properly that day?
Yes.
Okay. And on that day, did you come into contact with someone later identified as a Christopher Simpson?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, he's sitting right in front of me, white shoes, plaid pants, and a black long sleeve shirt.
Thank you. Your Honor, let the record reflect the witness identified the defendant.
So reflect.
And was that during a traffic stop?
Yes.
Okay. And did you record that traffic stop?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I'm going to begin playing what's marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. It is a flash drive that has 3 total videos, one being the cage cam, one the body cam, and the third being the dash camera.
Very well.
Do you recognize this footage here?
I do.
Okay. And what is this from?
I'm traveling westbound on 11th towards 21st.
Okay.
Or not 11th, I'm sorry. Westbound on Granville towards 21st.
Okay. And is this from your dash cam on the stop with Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a look back period on this?
Yes, so whenever I activate my lights or camera, it'll go back a minute 30 just to capture anything that happened prior to the activation of the lights or camera. Here I'm stationary at Granville and 21st.
Okay. And are you going to go left, right, or straight?
I'm going to turn southbound, which would be left
Okay.
on the 21st.
And what first drew your attention to the defendant's vehicle?
There was a vehicle traveling towards me, estimated over the posted speed limit right there.
Okay.
And then once I estimated I'm coming towards me over the speed limit, I activated my radar unit, which verified his speed. It speeds of 51, 51. The lowest speed I checked him was 50. The last speed I checked him at was 51 miles an hour.
Okay. So let's dial this back a little. You said you visually estimated him over the speed limit. Have you had training on the visual estimation of vehicle speeds?
Yes, that's part of our 6-month training at the academy. We have ESMD week where we're certified to operate the radar units and the laser units for speed detection.
Okay. And based on your training, does the radar operate under the Doppler principle?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a confidence check or something that you do on your radar?
At the start of my shift and at the end of my shift, we have 2 tuning forks. I'll power it on. It'll do a self-check. And then I'll test each antenna front and rear in both stationary and moving mode, ensuring that it's within 1 mile plus or minus of the tuning forks.
And when you did these confidence checks, was your radar equipment working properly?
Yes.
Did you use it throughout your shift?
Yes.
And you didn't have to take it out of service or turn it off for any reason?
No.
Okay. And do you have annual training about vehicle speed detection?
Yes.
Okay. And what does that entail?
Every year, we'll ride with someone certified to recertify us in our ESMD certificates, making sure that we can still estimate speeds and still operate the speed measuring devices properly. And if we see any errors, obviously we know to take it out of service and stuff like that.
And you're up to date on that as well?
Yes.
Okay. And so based on your radar speed readings, did you initiate a traffic stop?
I did.
Okay. And what kind of vehicle was the defendant driving?
He was driving a blue Lamborghini.
So obviously a pretty easy to identify vehicle. So are you certain that you stopped the vehicle that you checked at 51 miles an hour?
Yes, it was the only vehicle traveling towards me.
Okay. And what is the speed limit in this area right here?
35 miles an hour.
Thank you,
21st in Granville. Sam 513-308. Sam 513-308.
Based on your training in the NHTSA manual, what speed differential is an indicator of impairment?
10 plus or minus.
Okay. And this may seem silly, but is 51 over 35 more than that 10?
Yes.
Okay. And did anything happen during the stopping sequence that you found as questionable for OVI?
No, he slow rolled it and stopped right there in the middle of the road right there.
Okay. And did you make contact with the driver?
I did.
Okay. And how many occupants were in the vehicle?
There was 2.
Okay. And did you advise him as to the reason for your stop?
Yes.
And did he have any comment about that?
He told me he didn't think it was speeding, and that his vehicle sounds like he was going 100 miles an hour.
Did you ask him to produce his license, registration, insurance, so forth?
I did. He handed me his license from his dash. While I'm up there at the window talking to him, I could smell a strong odor of alcohol coming from the vehicle. I could see that he was chewing a piece of bubble gum. I could also see that his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. Throughout our conversation, I asked him for his insurance. He decided to pull up Instagram and show me a video of him renting the car or the rental place for the car. I informed him I just needed the insurance, and that's when he told me he didn't have insurance.
Why was the gum noteworthy?
It's just a masking odor, just like perfume would be, a cigarette would be, food would be, anything you can try to do to try to mask the odor of an alcoholic beverage, which is hard to mask.
So you mentioned the odor. Was there anything else about him physically that caused you concern for OVI?
Besides the way his eyes were, just from me talking to him, they were glassed over, they were bloodshot. He was dressed like he had been out for the night. Near 1 in the morning. Time of day definitely came into effect.
Okay. Did you ask where he was going and coming from?
It did. He told me he was out trying to look for some honeys.
Okay. Did you ask him if he had anything to drink?
I did.
What did he say?
He said he had not been drinking at all. How are you?
Good. It sounds fast, but I was doing the speed limit.
He wasn't doing the speed limit. That's why I stopped you. Let's see your driver's license.
Yep.
Your registration and insurance. Is the vehicle registered to you?
No, it's my buddy's exotic.
I'm sorry, what? It's hard to hear. Can you just turn up your engine on? It's just hard to hear.
That's quiet.
Oh, there you go. Say that again?
It's an exotic rental.
I got it. So you said it was your buddy's?
Yeah, it's an exotic rental.
Okay.
5 exotics.
I checked you at 51. Any reason you were going so fast? Yeah. It's a
It sounded
30.
like I was doing 100, but
It's a 35 zone. You have insurance?
yeah, you have insurance right here.
With Hydro Exotics, want to introduce you to the newest addition to our fleet.
No, I just need to see your insurance.
I don't have it on me.
Okay. Go ahead and step out for me. Any weapons in here?
There's no.
Okay.
Serious? I gotta really step out?
Yep, just step out.
At this point, why did you ask him to exit the vehicle?
There was the odor in the vehicle. There was 2 occupants. He told me he wasn't drinking. I got him out of the car so I could talk to him away from the odor. Which, when I got him out of the car and walked back to the front of my vehicle, I continued to smell the same strong odor of an alcoholic beverage from his person, and then as I continued to speak with him later on, from his breath.
Get stepped out.
He's going to come back here. Sir, if you just sit tight for me for a second, okay? You mind keeping your hands out of your pocket?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on up here. Where are you coming from tonight?
We were hanging out with some honeys.
Girls? Yeah. Hands out of your pocket. I already told you once, okay? You mind spinning your gun out? How much alcohol have you had tonight?
Not any alcohol
None?
tonight. No.
Okay. Has your passenger?
No, not at
For some
all.
reason I'd be smelling an odor coming from your car.
There's no odor.
Okay.
Somebody talking junk.
Yeah, that always happens. Go ahead and turn and face me. Keep your hands out of your pocket, please. I'm just going to turn this front light off, okay? Just sit tight.
And why are you turning off your front light bar?
Just so there's no lights that are interfering with any tests that I may do.
And what factors did you consider as a reason that you wanted Mr. Simpson to take field sobriety tests?
So first, there's the 3 phases of the traffic stop. For me, it started when I visually observed him speeding. I verified that with my radar. I stopped him. He didn't think he was speeding. Strong odor coming from the vehicle. His eyes are bloodshot and glassy. He's chewing on bubble gum, which would be a masking odor. I'm asking him simple things that, like insurance, and he wants to show me a video. He's not really paying attention to anything that I'm asking him. And then when I have to re-ask him, he then tells me he doesn't have it. He didn't want to get out of the car initially. He thought that I wasn't being serious. Got him out of the car, walked him back, continued to smell a strong odor from his person and his breath. I asked him again if he had been drinking. He then says no. I asked if the passenger had been drinking. He said no. I had to ask him multiple times to keep his hands out of his pockets. Just small things like listening to instructions that he wasn't able to do.
Okay. And how about the time of day, day of the week?
Saturday night, 1 in the morning. That's always a factor on the weekends when I'm stopping vehicles and someone could possibly be impaired. When all those things are present, yes.
Are the weekends more prevalent for OVI stops? Like there's more OVI?
Yes.
drivers?
So our OSTATs, which is the system that the state of Ohio uses per county and statewide, would indicate that the weekends are more prevalent for OVI impairment arrest in this county.
So how many standard field sobriety tests are there?
There's 3 battery tests.
Okay, and what are those?
You have the horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one leg stand.
Okay, and what about them makes them standardized?
The field studies that they did when they were getting them certified to be recognized by the courts and as a standard.
And so do all law enforcement conduct those the same way?
Yes.
Okay, and that's pursuant to the NHTSA manual?
Yes.
Okay, and did you conduct all 3 of them with
Yes.
Mr. Simpson? Okay. So before you start these, there's like a medical questionnaire pre-check that you have to do, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what kind of questions did you ask?
I asked if he wears glasses or contacts, any recent head injuries, ear infections, concussions. I asked if he has any injuries to his legs, back, knees, if he's consumed any illegal narcotics, if he's on any medication, and if he's consumed any alcohol.
Okay. And did he answer those with did he give a yes to any of those that would cause you concern for his performance on the tests?
No, he stated no to everything.
So let's start with the HGN. What are you looking for in the HGN test?
The first thing
what's the nystagmus, and what do you look for?
The first thing I'm looking for is making sure he has equal pupil size and that he doesn't have a resting nystagmus.
And why is that?
Because it'd be indicative of a possible medical condition, head trauma, something more cognitive that's going on internally where I would probably get medics out to the scene.
Okay. And was any of that present?
No.
Okay. And then what is horizontal gaze nystagmus?
So horizontal gaze nystagmus, there's a total of 6 clues. I'm just looking for the involuntary jerking of the eyes. That's what we call nystagmus as I'm completing that test.
What's a rental like that cost, man? Did you rent it for the day? For the weekend? What's that cost? $100 at all? Shut up. Seriously? Serious. It's not embarrassing here, though. It's alright. Do you wear glasses or contacts? I do not. Have you had any recent concussions, ear infections, or head injuries? No, it's my pregnant lady yelling at me all the time. Okay. Any injuries to your leg, back, knees, or anything like that? No. Okay. Do you wear glasses or contacts? No, I got 20/20. Okay. Just asking. These are questions I just have to ask because if I see anything in your eyes while I'm about to check them, I mean, those are questions that are relevant to anything I might see in your eyes. Absolutely. All right. If you would just put your toes and heels together, hands flat to your side for me. All right. Just follow the tip of my pen, this part here. Put your eyes and nose on it, okay?
So at this moment, what are you doing with Mr. Simpson?
Put him in a starting position.
Okay. And did you give him instructions about how to get in the starting position and what to do during the test?
Yes.
Did he understand those instructions?
Yes.
At any point, did you have to stop, pause, or remind him of the instructions?
During the test, I don't remember. I don't believe so.
And then how many phases are there to the HGN?
There's 3 phases where I'm looking for a total of 6 clues, and then there's a subsequent phase where I'm looking for vertical gaze that just indicates if someone hasn't taken a large amount of alcohol for their person.
And how many, what is the first phase of the HGN test?
Equal tracking.
Okay. And I guess how many phases are there total, did we say?
There's 3 phases,
Okay.
6 total clues.
Okay. And what are all 3 of those phases?
Equal tracking, lack of smooth pursuit, which would be where I get my first set of clues. Maximum or nystagmus and maximum deviation, which is where I would get my second set of clues, and then onset prior to 45 degrees, which is where I would get my third set of clues.
Okay. And how do you conduct each phase?
I start 12 to 15 inches, slightly above eye level, with a stimulus. Have him follow tip of my stimulus from center, and it's smooth movement, 2 seconds, starting with his left eye, and then I'll come back across 4 seconds, all the way back to his right eye, and then I'll repeat that process twice.
And is that for the first phase?
Yes.
Okay. And then what do you do for the second phase?
So after I make sure that his eyes track my stimulus properly, then I'll move into lack of smooth pursuit. It's the same process. I'll repeat that twice. And then I'm looking for his eyes to skip across as I'm moving my stimulus at that pace, indicating that his eyes are going to look like they're on a dry windshield, wipers going across a dry windshield, just skipping, which is an indicator and 2 clues.
And then what about phase 3?
So here we're going into phase 2, where I'm looking for maximum deviation, nystagmus at maximum deviation. Same process from center, 12 to 15, slightly above eye level. I go out 2 and I hold it for a minimum of 4 seconds, maximum of 30, no more than 30. And at that point, I'll see if someone has been consuming alcohol or could possibly be impaired. I'll see nystagmus there. It's a distinct and sustained nystagmus is what I'm seeing. So his eyes will be taken out as far as possible, and they'll jerk back to center. And I'll do that twice. And I did see 2 clues on that portion.
Okay. So how many clues total again for all 3 phases?
6. Right now we're at 4.
Okay. And so what? So the final phase. How's
Is
that?
your nystagmus prior to 45 degrees, 12 to 15 inches from the face, slightly above eye level. I move outward to about 12 to 15 inches at a 4-second pace to where I get to that 45-degree angle. And if I see nystagmus prior to that, I'll stop and verify it, and then I'll proceed to the next eye. And I do that twice.
And how many clues there
Uh,
that you saw?
2 clues on that portion. At this point in the test, I have a total of 6 clues.
Okay. And what is the significance of 6 out of 6 clues?
That it's the most reliable test that's in the battery. It's indicative that someone is either on a depressant or they've been drinking alcohol.
Okay. And what effect does alcohol have on the central nervous system?
We're talking movements, speech, mental capacity, multitasking, It just impairs your ability to be able to function as a person, much less drive a car.
In doing those effects, are those depressed or accelerated?
Those are depressed.
And you mentioned distinct and sustained nystagmus.
Yes.
What exactly is that?
It's nystagmus at a set point that's constant. It's not one of those things that I see and just goes away. I'm going to see his eye involuntarily jerk for a minimum of 4 seconds, or however long I'm holding my stimulus, no more than 30 seconds. That portion of the HGN test is probably the most indicative to me when I'm checking someone's eyes for that test.
And why is that?
It's an indicator that they have been drinking alcohol.
Okay. And how do you measure 45 degrees when you're on the road like this?
Again, I said 12 to 15 inches. If I'm 12 inches from the center of his face, a piece of paper, essentially a printed piece of paper, is the same length. I'm going to go the same length. If I'm 12 out, I'm going to go 12 out. And that'll get me to my 45 or until, so at maximum deviation, I'm going until I see no white. Onset prior to 45, I'm going until I'm at that 45 mark and I can still see whites in the corner of his eye.
And then, how many clues on the HGN test do you need to effect an arrest?
4 or 6.
Sure. You see, take my pen? Yeah. If I was your eyes, your eyes on me, sir. Try not to move your head, sir. Keep your head straight. There you go. You wasting my time or what?
Okay, 61, 125.
Now I'm gonna go up with it, okay, sir? Sure.
You said you're going to go up. Is that the vertical gaze nystagmus I heard you mention?
This is the vertical gaze nystagmus portion.
And how do you conduct the vertical gaze nystagmus?
I'll go up above eye level to where basically his eyebrows raise, and his eyes are essentially at the max point where they can move, and I'll look for the vertical nystagmus of his eyes involuntary jerking.
And did you see vertical nystagmus here?
I did not.
Okay. Have you taken any medication or used any drugs today? No, it's Tylenol. Those are just questions on the hospital. You're gonna come.
Did you ask him again if he had consumed alcohol or drugs?
I did.
And what did he say?
No, just Tylenol.
And did you do the walk and turn test next?
I did.
Okay, and how do you conduct the walk and turn?
So for this one, I'm going to walk into the rear of his vehicle. This road where we're at, there's no solid line, so have him imagine a straight line from where he stood to the front of my patrol car, and then I put him in a starting position. I tell him it's a starting position. I tell him not to move from that starting position until I've finished explaining and demonstrating, and I ask him if he understands.
Okay. Is there also, after that instruction phase, is there a demonstration phase that you do?
Yes, before the demonstration, I'll give him the instructions for the test. Place his left foot on the imaginary line. Place his right foot directly in front, heel to toe touching, with his hands flat down to his side. This is the starting position. Don't move from that starting position until I tell you to begin. Verify that he understands, and then I will explain he's to take 9 heel to toe steps down that imaginary line. The entire time his hands will be flat to his side. He'll be looking at his feet, count each step out loud. Once he gets to his 9th step, he's going to leave his front or lead foot on the ground, take a series of small steps with his rear foot. He's going to take 9 more heel to toe steps back to where he started. Again, the entire time, keep your hands flat to your side, look at your feet, and count each step out loud.
And did he understand those instructions?
Yes.
Okay, and then you showed him a demonstration of how to do it?
I demonstrated it for him. I informed him I'm only going to take 3 steps. He's required to do 9. I go to the same starting position as him. On my 3rd step, I either say step number 3 or I indicate step number 9. And then I leave my lead foot on the ground, take a series of small steps turning around, and I take 3 more back. Again, on my 3rd step, I say the number 3 or I'll say the number 9 just so they don't get confused to take 3 steps.
And after that, did the defendant seem to understand the instructions and what you wanted him to do?
I ask if he has any questions. If they have questions, they ask, I explain. Then I tell them to begin the test when they're ready.
Up here, I got a couple more tests I need you to do. Just right up here to the rear of your car. Alright, go ahead and turn and face my car. Alright, can you imagine a straight line from where you stand to my front? That's a straight line right there behind you, sir. It's in the middle of the road. We're not doing that, okay? Can you imagine a straight line from where you stand to the front of my car?
And where you are, is this a pretty flat, level surface?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put you in a starting position, so I need you to just stay there while I explain and demonstrate the test, okay? Alright, go ahead and place your left foot on that imaginary line for me. Like this. Place your right foot in front, heel to toe touching like this. Your hands flat down to your side. This is a starting position. Do not start the test until I tell you to begin, okay? You need to stay in the starting position, okay? Go back to the starting position, right foot in front of left. Hands flat down to your side. Do not move from this position until I tell you to begin, okay? Do you understand? Okay. This next test is a walk and turn test. It's going to require you to take a series of 9 heel to toe steps down that imaginary line. Okay. When you get to your 9th step, you're going to leave your front foot on the ground. You're going to take a series of small steps turning around with your rear foot, and you're going to take 9 more heel to toe steps back to where you started. The entire time. 9 steps forward, 9 steps back? Yep. The entire time you're doing the test, keep your hands flat to your side. Make sure your steps are heel to toe. Look at your feet and count each step out loud. Okay? Yep. I'm okay on test. This is what it looks like, okay?
It's like lunging.
Go back to the starting position. Alright. So back up some. You've already scooted up a couple feet. Right there. Just go back to the starting position for me. Hands flat to your side. For the demonstration, I'm going to do 3 steps. You're required to do 9, okay? Alright. Same starting position as you. 1, 2, this would be 9 for you, leave it on the ground, series of small steps turning around. 1, 2, 9. Okay? Do you have any questions? Alright, let's go. Do you have any questions? Alright, begin whenever you're ready. Look at your feet. Just like I showed you.
Starting position, right?
Just like I showed you.
1. Does this count 1 or no?
Just like I showed you, sir.
I have ADHD, so.
I got you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go ahead and stand right here. Face me.
How many clues did you see on the walk and turn?
4 of 8.
Okay. Do you recall what those are?
I do.
And what were they?
He moved his feet for balance from the starting position. He stopped while walking on multiple steps. He made an improper turn or lost balance. And he took 10 steps back down.
And how many clues do you need on a walk and turn to effect an arrest?
2.
And after that, did you do the the one leg stand test?
I did.
Okay. And is there an instruction and demonstration phase on that as well?
Yes.
Okay. And for the instruction phase, what instructions do you give a suspect?
I have him stand there with his toes and heels together, hands flat to his side. I tell him he can use whichever foot he chooses. He's going to lift that foot approximately 6 inches off the ground. Both legs are going to remain straight. He's going to look at the tip of his toe with his hands flat to his side, and he's going to count in a manner of 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, so on and so forth until I tell him to stop.
And after the instructions, did you ask him if he understood?
Yes.
Okay. And then the demonstration, what do you do for the demonstration portion?
The demonstration portion, I'll lift my right foot up because that's the foot I like to use. I'll lift it 6 inches off the ground, parallel to the ground. Both of my legs are going to be straight, and my hands are flat to my side, just like I instructed him. And I count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, as I would want him to do. And I reiterate that I'm just looking at him for officer safety reasons, because I'm not looking at my toe.
Put your toes and heels together. Hands flat to your side. This next test is going to be the one leg stand test, okay? It's going to require you to pick whichever foot you choose, approximately 6 inches off the ground. Sure. The entire time you keep your hands flat to your side, you keep that foot elevated 6 inches off the ground. Both legs are going to remain straight, and you're going to look at the tip of your toes, and you're going to count 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, so on and so forth, until I tell you to stop, okay?
Can you show me?
I'm going to show you.
Okay,
But
sure.
do you understand the instructions?
Yeah.
Okay. This is what it looks like. Go back here, toes and heels touching, okay? This is what it looks like. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005. Again, I'm looking at you for officer safety.
Okay.
So you gotta look at the tip of that tail, okay?
All right.
Any questions? Yeah? Okay. How long are we going? Until I tell you to stop.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? All right, beginning of your ready.
All right. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 1,007, 1,008, 1,009, 1,010, 1,011, 1,012, 1,013, 1,014, 1,015, 1,016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027.
Come on up here. I got a couple more tests for you.
Did you notice any clues on the one leg stand?
Just one clue, he was swaying.
Oh, sorry. Are there other sobriety tests that you can do on the scene, other than the standardized ones?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do those here?
Yes.
Which ones?
I did the alphabet, and then I did had him count backwards.
Okay. And for the alphabet test, what exactly did you instruct him to do?
I first asked him what his highest level of education was. I believe he said he graduated high school. And then I had him start from a letter and end at a specific letter.
Okay. Do you do the test the same way every single time?
Yes.
Okay. And why is that important?
Just for standardized reasons. They're not standardized tests, but just so it's a conformity thing. So when I'm observing these things from anyone I come into contact with, I'm seeing that either the same things or not the same things from these individuals.
And how did Mr. Simpson do on the alphabet test?
He messed up.
What's your highest level of education, sir? College, high, high school. College, high school, yeah. Graduated high school. What year did you graduate? 2017. Okay. Yeah. So it's safe to say you know how to count to 100 and your ABCs, correct? Yeah, this is just a lot of work for just me dropping him off. I got you. Well, I'm saying some things that lead me want to go into this test, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to say your ABC starting from the letter D. I want you to stop at the letter A. Like an IAP test or what? Just say your ABC starting from D. Okay. Stopping at R. Do you understand my instructions? Huh? Start at D and the R. Yep. Letter E, F. Do I start with D? Okay. D, E, F, G, H, R. Okay, that's it? You said D to R, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Okay. You said start at D and the R.
And just to be clear, was that D is in dog and R is in Roger?
Yes.
Okay. So is there anything about his test performance on the alphabet test that's indicative of impairment?
So these are every test that we do as part of the battery, and these follow on our psychophysical, so they're mental and physical tests where you gotta do more than two things at once, two things or more at once. So he's having to think and say his alphabet at the same time. He concurred with me. It'd be safe to say that he could say his alphabet from A all the way to Z. He wasn't able to say probably 70% of the alphabet from D to R.
And then the count backwards counting test. What instructions did you provide for him on that test?
I had him count backwards from, I believe, the number 59 and stop at the number 42.
Okay. And did he do that test correctly?
Yes.
Count backwards from 59, stop at the number 42. We're really trying to get in, like, okay, go ahead. Say it one more time. Count backwards from 59 to 42. Okay. 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46. My bad. You're getting me under pressure. Say it one more time. Sorry. I'm not getting you under pressure. I'm IAP. I mean, I look good, but I'm IAP to be honest. I've had two teachers. Can you say the instructions one more time? Down backwards from 59. Yeah, my lady tells me we're sketching all the time. I forget. Down backwards from 59 to 42. Okay. 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42. Okay. Where's my car? Sure. Put your hand behind your back for me. Come together.
So at this point, did you place Mr. Simpson under arrest?
Yes,
And did you read him his Miranda rights?
I did.
And what were you placing him under arrest for?
Operating a vehicle while impaired.
Okay. And what factors did you consider altogether for your arrest decision?
The totality of circumstance, which would be starting from the time I estimated his speed, checked his speed, my personal contact with him up at the vehicle, personal contact with him outside the vehicle, strong odor, the bloodshot glassy eyes, failure to follow simple instructions, failure to produce simple papers that are generally asked when someone gets stopped. He told me he wasn't drinking. I could smell it. I could see that his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. Poor test performances, 6 of 6 clues on his eyes. I got 4 of 8 clues from the walk and turn. 1 of 4 clues on the one-leg stand. He couldn't say his alphabet from a set letter to another set letter while trying to do 2 things at once. He also had to repeat the numbers backwards. He had 2 opportunities to do that. He couldn't do it the first time. He wanted to stop multiple times. He didn't remember where I had told him to stop. After re-explaining it, he finally was able to figure it out. All those things together, to me, is why I arrested him for OVI.
Okay. And just for clarification, did you continue to smell the odor from his breath when you were conducting these field sobriety tests?
The entire time I was in front of him, interacting with him, the odor never went away.
Okay. Now, does somebody have to be intoxicated to be impaired?
You
Like
talking about only on alcohol?
Yes.
No, you can be impaired on other things.
Okay. And then, do you have to consume a large amount of alcohol to become impaired?
I think it depends on the individual person.
Based on your training, experience, and observation, do you believe that the defendant consumed alcoholic beverages prior to driving his Lamborghini that day?
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that he drank alcohol to the degree that it impacted his ability to properly and safely operate a motor vehicle?
Yes.
Do you believe he was impaired due to alcohol consumption?
Yes.
All right. And after you arrested him and read him his Miranda rights, did you perform a search of his person?
I did.
Okay. And did you find anything noteworthy during that?
He had a receipt in his pocket, I believe.
Okay. And what was that for?
Where he was coming from, West Church Social.
And what kind of establishment is that?
That is a bar.
And after the search, did you place him in your cruiser?
I did.
Okay. And there's still a passenger in the Lamborghini, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did the passenger just drive the car away?
He does not.
Okay. And why not?
When I got up there, I observed the same things that I observed from Mr. Simpson. From the passenger side, I could see that the passenger's eyes were bloodshot and glassy, still strong odor of alcohol in the vehicle. I told him he wouldn't be driving away. I asked him if he had been consuming alcohol. He stated yes. I also asked if Mr. Simpson was consuming alcohol, and he also stated yes. And he called a ride.
All right. So what happened to the car?
I had MMP Towing come pick it up.
Okay. And at some point, did you advise Mr. Simpson about taking a chemical test?
Yes, he was read and shown the BMV 2255.
Okay. And what exactly does that, just like in summary, a general summary of
It's
the
your
2255?
basically your Ohio driving privileges if you've been arrested for OVI, based on if it's ever happened before or if it's happened multiple times. It advises you of your rights. If you take the test, don't take the test. The license suspension that'll be imposed, and then it goes into vehicle seizures, vehicle forfeitures, vehicle mobilizations. It even has a section for people with commercial driver's license. The section I read to Mr. Simpson that day was the top portion, which did advise him that he was under arrest for OVI, that I would be requesting a test. If he had been arrested for OVI before, there was consequences for refusing or providing a test. And then I went down and read, based on his prior OVIs, if he had any, what would happen if he said yes or no to that chemical test.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm showing him what's marked as plaintiff's exhibit 2. Do you recognize that?
Yes, this is the BMV 2255.
And whose name appears upon that?
Christopher Simpson.
Okay. So is that Is that a fair and accurate copy of the 2255 that you filled out and that you read to Mr. Simpson that day?
Yes.
Other than obviously being 2 pages instead of just front and back?
Yes.
Okay. And where was he when you, where were you guys at when you read this?
I believe I was on scene
Were you,
with, I believe I was, yeah, I was on scene with Trooper Taylor there.
okay. And were you going to offer him a breath test?
Yes, I did offer him a breath test.
Okay.
Hey, step in here, I just need to read you a form real quick. I'm gonna ask you a question. What's up, dude?
Got a can right here.
Like your Lamborghini?
No, that was over now. What time did you make the stop?
Try that again.
So I did, watching my video, I did read him that 2255 there. Trooper Taylor met me at the jail because he also had someone that had to take a breath test.
Okay.
Hey, step in here, I just need to read you a form real quick. I'm gonna ask you a question. What's up, dude?
Got a can right here.
Like your Lamborghini?
No, that was over now.
Exotic rental.
You're now under arrest for operating a vehicle. I'm talking to you, okay? You're now under arrest for operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol, drug, or a combination of them. Operating a vehicle while under the influence of illicit controlled substance or illicit metabolite of controlled substance. Operating a vehicle after underage alcohol consumption, having physical control of a vehicle while under the influence. If you refuse to take any chemical tests required by law, your Ohio driving privileges will be suspended immediately, and you will have to pay a fee to have the privileges reinstated. If you have a prior conviction of OVI or operating a vehicle under the influence of illicit controlled substance or illicit metabolite of controlled substance under state and municipal law within the preceding 20 years, you're now under arrest for state OVI. And if you refuse to take a chemical test, you will face increased penalties if you are subsequently convicted of state OVI. If you take any chemical test required by law and are found to be at or over the prohibited amount of alcohol, controlled substance, or metabolite of controlled substance in your whole blood, serum, plasma, breath, or urine as set by law, your Ohio driver license will be suspended immediately. You have to pay a fee to have the privileges reinstated. If you take a chemical test, you can go get your own chemical test taken at your own expense. Down here, you haven't had any OVIs before.
Correct.
I'm going to offer you a chemical test. If you refuse my chemical test, you're going to lose your license for 1 year. If you take my chemical test and test over the legal limit, you're going to lose your license for 90 days. Do you want to take a chemical test?
You said if I don't take it, I lose it for a year.
Yeah, at least until your initial court date, and then you can try to appeal it. Same thing if you take it. So, do you want to take the test?
Just take it, right? That's what makes the most sense.
It's
Just take it.
Do you want to take the test or not? You know the consequences if you take it. You know the consequences if you refuse it.
So if I refuse it, 1 year suspended and I have to handle it through the courts?
Yep.
And then if I take it,
90 days suspended.
okay, and then
And you
what
still
happens?
got to handle it through the courts.
Either way, I can still dip out of here?
Yeah, your ride's out front. The only difference is
My bad.
the only difference is you're actually giving me a breath test, or you're saying no, you don't want to give me a breath test.
How does that work if you, like, decline it? How does that work? Like,
Then I don't have a breath test.
say that one more time.
Then I don't have a breath test, obviously.
So then if there's no proof, how do you get convicted?
I have proof with my 3 phases of the traffic stop.
What was the proof?
You're going 51 and a 35.
Oh, it's a Lamborghini.
It doesn't matter, there's speed limits. You get up to your car, there's a very strong odor of alcohol coming from your car. You're slow to respond to stuff. You're fumbling through your stuff. I ask you for your insurance. You pull up an Instagram video. I get you out of the car. You're chewing on your bubble gum. You spit it out. That's what I call a masking odor. All right, you're trying to mask odors with your bubble
I
gum.
had that in. I call it Kobe gum.
And your friend also had the same thing. And then I asked you about alcohol. You deny it, but you reek of it. It's coming off you. I get 6 clues out of your eyes. I don't get VGN. I get multiple clues on my other additional test. You couldn't even say your alphabet from D to R. You said it. You said like a total of 6 letters in your alphabet, and you couldn't even count backwards from 59 to 42. All of these are divided attention skills. All right. It's where you have to do something physically and do something mentally at the same time. And when you're impaired, you can't do those things, okay? And you denied drinking alcohol when in fact your friend already told me you were drinking alcohol. You yourself had told me your wife didn't want you to go out drinking, and you were coming from West Church.
I didn't say go out drinking. She didn't want me to go out tonight.
At one point in my card, you did say your girlfriend did not want you to go out drinking. So I just need to know if you want to take it or not, because I got to help this guy out. I just need to know.
I'll take it, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna have you sit out here with this officer, and then after he takes his test, did you already read that to him?
Yeah, this is the social.
Question. So, like,
He's gonna answer all your questions.
You wanted to like me know, right?
yeah.
Come on, stand off so you look like a Mr. Work. There you go.
What was your question? Does he have an ID?
Oh, my bad.
Now, is that Trooper Taylor?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you're having Mr. Simpson exit the room right now?
Yes.
And why is that?
Oh, I'm the only trooper on night shift that can administer breath tests. I didn't want Mr. Simpson in the room with the other guy in the room. I don't know his name because of the odor of alcohol in the room.
Okay. So did you do the test on the other gentleman first?
I did.
Okay. And after that, did you again ask Mr. Simpson if he wanted to do a breath test?
Yes.
Okay. And did he agree to do a breath test?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall what the result was?
He blew a .067 an hour and 22 minutes after I stopped him.
Okay. We'll get to that. Your Honor, may I approach witness?
You may.
This result. I'm showing what's marked as plaintiff's exhibit 3. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is that from?
This is the breath test that I gave him.
Is that a true and accurate depiction of the test result printout from Mr. Simpson on the night in question?
Yes.
Thank you. You mentioned this was an hour and 22 minutes after you first saw him operating the vehicle?
Yes.
Why is that significant?
Blood alcohol levels are going down. Blood alcohol levels are going up.
Does NHTSA provide any guidance about that?
Every hour, the blood alcohol levels going down .015 based on consumption and stomach content.
So that .015, would that have put...
Ms. Shager, I'm going to stop this line of questioning unless you have a medical expert to corroborate the testimony. It's not admissible.
Based on the test result, was he subject to an ALS suspension?
No,
Okay. And he was not charged with a per se over the limit violation, correct?
he was not.
Okay. Did you still believe that he was impaired, even with the .067?
With the .067 and at the time I stopped him, yes.
So in the portions of the video that we have watched here today, are those true and accurate depictions of your recorded interactions with Mr. Simpson on August 24th, 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I have nothing further for Sergeant Card at this time.
All right. So, Mr. Simpson, you have the right to, technically called cross-examination, but you have the right to ask the sergeant questions relevant to the charges, although you're not required to. Is there anything you'd like to ask the sergeant?
The towing company scratched the bottom of the Lambo or whatever, and then I ended up paying to get that out, so I feel like the whole situation's been like a headache. And then, you know, I was just nervous the whole time, so that's why I probably slur my words and stuff like that, just under
Well, you'll have a chance to give your side of the story if you want to afterwards, but do you have any questions for the sergeant?
I don't think so.
Okay. Sergeant, you may step down. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can go ahead and return the exhibits to Ms. Yeager. Ms. Yeager, do you have any additional witnesses that you wish to call?
No, Your Honor. The state would move to admit plaintiff's exhibits 1, 2, and 3.
So, Mr. Simpson, the prosecutor is asking me to admit the video, the BMV form, and then the results of your breath alcohol tests into evidence. If I grant that request, that means I can consider those things in determining whether or not they've met their burden of proof. Do you have any objection to any of those exhibits coming into evidence?
I don't think so.
Okay. Very well. Then I will go ahead and I'll grant the state's request, and I will move states 1, states 2, and states 3 into evidence. Does the state rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Simpson, you have the right to present a defense at this point by calling other witnesses, by introducing your own exhibits into the record, or testifying on your own behalf. But because you're presumed to be not guilty, because the state has the burden of proof here beyond a reasonable doubt before a conviction could be entered, you're not under any obligation to present any type of a defense. You don't have to call witnesses, you don't have to introduce exhibits, and you don't even have to testify. And if you don't, I don't hold it against you. It doesn't reduce or eliminate your presumption of innocence, and it certainly doesn't lower the burden that the state has to meet. If you elect to testify on your own behalf, however, you are required to either swear or affirm to tell the truth, and when you're finished giving your side of things, you are required to answer any questions that the prosecutor. Witnesses that you'd like to call?
No.
And would you like to testify on your own behalf?
Yeah.
All right, then please come forward and be sworn.
You know, just step up here and try to face me, okay? Do you solemnly swear or do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury? Yes. Please have a seat, sir. For the record, you're going to give your name and spell your last name.
Okay. My name's Christopher Simpson. Last name Simpson.
And your address?
All right, so there's no lawyer to take you through your testimony like there was for the sergeant, so
Right.
your testimony just entails you telling me what your side of the story is. So whenever you're
Okay.
ready, you can start.
All right. I'm a dad now. My baby Siri's like 2 weeks old. You know, I took the Lambo out because I like exotic cars. It's not my first time, and you know, I wanted to step out before the baby got here. My lady didn't want me to go out because my friends sometimes can be trouble and stuff like that. And then I ended up going out, and you know, I got in trouble. I didn't even have that much to drink. It was just like a little bit or whatever. I just said no. That way he didn't like, I don't know, I just didn't want it to look bad or whatever. I'm just nervous a little bit.
Just take a deep breath.
Okay. So with the tests and stuff like that, I was just under pressure. You know, I had like IEP in high school and stuff like that. I'm not dumb or anything, but I was just nervous. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. If you don't have anything else you want to add, that's fine. Miss Yeager, cross-examination.
Actually, I have no questions for Mr. Simpson.
All right, Mr. Simpson, you can go ahead and retake your seat at the table. You've already indicated that you didn't have any additional witnesses, so do you rest your case, sir? Meaning you're finished presenting any evidence.
I just had the receipt when I went to the tow company to get the car out the next morning. They let me get it out. It just cost.
Okay, I was actually looking at that in the file, but it wouldn't be relevant to the issue of
Okay.
impairment, but that's fine, I appreciate that. You can go ahead and retake your seat. Did the state wish to present any testimony or evidence in rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Because the court has a change of plea hearing as well as a marriage to do real quick, I'm going to take the matter under advisement while I'm doing those things, then we'll come back and I'll announce my verdicts. Court will stand in recess.
All rise.